Hello and welcome back to Boozy Book Club. We have missed you, booze and books and friends. It has felt like it has been forever since we've done this because actually I looked up on the internet. Last time we did one of these was in May, which I cannot believe. Yeah, this is actually, I should have looked when we did our first one, but this is our 11th book club. We've been doing this for at least a year. I think because we missed the summer, we're not at our 12th, but this is exciting. We're back. We're back with the fall. September's almost over. We're going to discuss a couple books, and so let's just get right into it with the most important question of the evening, which is, what are we drinking? I am back with my Wolf Cup, my very special Wolf Cup, and I'm drinking grown-up wine. And you might see my tagline tonight. You'll notice that I have grown-up wine now because starting in May, I joined a wine club, which means my house has very much less Pinot Noir mid-level like it used to have. It has higher-end wines that I get at a discount. So that is what I'm drinking tonight. Beth, what about you?
I like how your picture is very grown-up, Becca, as well.
I know. It's my official, it's my official LinkedIn photo. Thank you.
It's very grown-up wine time.
It's grown-up wine, Boozy Book Club.
Yes. I am Beth, hello, and I'm excited about Boozy Book Club. It has been a long time. I think our first one was actually July or June of last summer. Yeah, with like times that we didn't do it or whatever, and over the summer not doing it. Anyway, yay! I'm having a Ghost River Ale, which this is a local Memphis beer. So if you can find it, it's very delicious. Ghost River. Representing Memphis, Tennessee tonight.
Shout out to Memphis. I'm getting right back into this because I wanted to tell you that if you're watching this live, we're having an error with the Q&A. That is not what I wanted to tell you, though. I wanted to tell you, when I started this chat, I couldn't remember the name of what I like to call the picture book we read this month. Which is why, if you're watching it, it says Boozy Book Club number 11, Brave Witch plus a graphic novel, which Becca forgot the title of. I will change that eventually, but yeah, if you're watching this live.
Graphic novel.
Yeah, it's not a graphic novel. We can discuss that later. I clearly didn't read it, and we'll get back to that. Moving on, Jamie.
Okay, so fun fact, I'm using a crappy Windows 8 computer, and it just told me it's going to restart in 15 minutes, whether I like it or not.
Oh, no.
So, awesome. Yay, Windows, you suck. So that's fun. I am drinking an Crystal Light iced tea with some water and some sage. By the way, never mix sage with iced tea. It doesn't taste good, but I was out of booze. So, and mixers, and that's what happened. Yeah, I'm excited for Boozy Book Club to start back up. Hopefully life and work, mostly work, won't be crazy, and I'll be able to, come home at normal hours in some time in the foreseeable future. So excited. And then, so when I disappear and I restart my computer, maybe I'll be back on.
Yay.
And Nikki.
Me. I'm drinking a lovely sparkling Arrowhead water because I didn't have time between changing my shirt and putting on some lipstick to get anything else. So my computer is not going to restart, hopefully, but I'm using a new connection, so I may not freeze.
And I like your tagline saying you just moved when in reality you moved in May/June.
Yeah, that's from the last time we were on, and I tried to change it and couldn't get it changed. So whatever. Tiffany?
Hi, I'm Tiffany, and I am drinking the tap water that I left beside my bed last night.
Ew.
No, I'm not drinking it, but it's the only thing that I could see.
That is so gross. Oh, gosh.
That's awesome.
I only do it when I'm desperate, you guys.
I love your purple hair.
My purple hair?
Oh, yeah, she has purple hair. That's awesome.
It is awesome.
I'm sorry, Beth. You were saying something.
I was just saying that water left by your bed reminds me of that Mel Gibson movie where the little girl doesn't like her water, it gets dusty or whatever. I always think about water being dusty if I leave it out because of that movie.
Ew.
Sign.
Eventually it does become dusty. So.
It does.
Really?
Yeah, eventually. Dust is everywhere.
Dust is everywhere. Well, this is a really great transition into our first book that we're going to discuss, which is Grave Witch. And I think Jamie is going to sort of lead us in the conversation tonight because it was her idea to read this book. And I have to say, Jamie, I love this book. I actually read all 3 of them in a row, so I completely forget what happens in the first one. But if you like this book, tweet us questions, tweet us comments, what you thought about Grave Witch while we kick off the conversation.
Okay, great. Yes, I heard about this book, I think, after I read the Fever series a while back. I was looking at other types of urban fantasy that maybe were, you know, a little bit similar, but obviously you want different characters, you want different storylines, a different hook into the story. So I came across this, and then I've been begging for us to do this for about a year now. And finally, some people got overruled, and it was our book for the month, so I was really excited about that. So I will just say, let's, I guess, start off with, what did everyone think about this specific world within Grave Witch? So it's kind of like our world, except the Fae have come out, which have created new cities and new territories and whatnot. So what did you guys think?
I liked it. I liked the world. I was a little confused, which I always get in urban fantasy. I did that with Fever series, and I don't know if it's just that I don't read details very closely. I like more big picture. I like more the setting, the scene. I don't love to read, like, details. So I felt like I would be like, wait, what does that thing do again? What is she doing with her, what happens to her eyes? Like, I just kept getting, so I'd have to go back and read. So that confused me a little bit, but it was probably just me not reading it closely enough. But I really liked the world, and I kept thinking about, what if the Fae came into our world? Would I, because what do they say, like at least 50% of the people had magical abilities or whatever, witch abilities or whatever they call it. And I was thinking about how interesting that might be if that was reality, and I really would hope that I would be a witch.
Yeah, birth control charm would be pretty fantastic, right? Just charm that, put it on your wrist. It's pretty amazing. Anybody else?
I liked it. I thought it was well built out. I mean, it takes a minute in any fantasy novel. Fantasy is my favorite genre. Now, urban fantasy is not my favorite genre, but fantasy is. And in any fantasy, it takes a while to get into what the constraints of their world are. So this one just felt kind of like, I don't know, CSI with witches a little bit. And I couldn't decide if, like, the Fae, I guess eventually she tells you that the Fae are anything that's been paranormal. So doesn't she say that? Like, anything that people have said over the years are, like, specific paranormal things, like, that we think are ghosts or whatever, it really is the Fae?
Well, I think a lot of, like, the fairy tales and a lot of just, like, lore and urban, I guess, urban myths and all that really have to do with the Fae. But there are witches, and I guess witches existed, but they only really came out when the Fae came out, which is pretty cool. But I guess, like, paranormal in the sense of, so we learn in this story that she's a grave witch. The title means she's actually a type of witch, which is called a grave witch, where she can connect with the other side. And when a person dies, they leave behind kind of an imprint of themselves, which they call a shade, that people can hire her to raise the shade, and the shade can only tell the truth and know its existence as it was, as it experienced it. And so people can ask loved ones questions, or they could, if there's a murder, they can find out, you know, what happened to them. And I think that was, like, a really cool concept for the story.
We have okay, go ahead, Tiff, sorry.
I'm going to ask a question,
and
it's going to prove how I never have read an urban fantasy book. What the hell is the Fae? I literally read the whole book, and I was like, what is this that they're talking about? Should I know what this is?
It's a great question.
Fairies, right?
Yeah.
It's fairy.
Okay, that's what I kind of gathered.
So I guess
have you?
we made. Sorry, go ahead.
Tiff, you read The Mortal Instruments, right?
Hell no, I didn't.
Oh gosh. Okay, and you didn't read Fever?
Nope.
Girl.
Tiff, get out of here.
Is
All
fae plural for all fairies, or is fae the male fairy? I forget.
I think Fae is like the species name.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like geese, or goose, or whatever.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, like
Fae
geese.
is like geese. Yeah, like geese.
Okay, guys.
So that's interesting. So I guess we should talk about that a little bit. So I made the assumption that people are a little familiar. If you watch the series True Blood, you find, there's the Fae in that series as well. They're kind of, I guess in like fairies, as we interpret it in modern fairy tales, is kind of derivative of the Fae. And I guess the Fae have lore in Irish and I guess in Scottish kind of mythology, and I think that's where it stems from. I think in classical terms, there's like the Seelie and Unseelie, which they didn't really talk about in this story, but a lot of other stories talk about that. So there's like kind of the light Fae and the dark Fae, and then there's some common properties, like for example in the Mortal Instruments series, you learn that the Fae can't lie, but they can creatively tell the truth, and I think that's something that we fall into in this series as well.
Yeah, you can't make deals with the Fae. You can't trust anything that they say or promise them anything or say anything with any sincerity because they'll twist it. And they're tricky. They're tricksy. Fae. So
we have a couple Twitter comments here from our friend Shallon, Mrs. Kowalski. I don't know what her name is. Kowski. Yeah, Kowski. She said she liked it. Speaking about the world, it was easier to visualize than most urban fantasies, probably because it's very close to real life, which is kind of what I was trying to say, but a lot more eloquent. And then she has an all caps comment. How has Tiffany not read Fever? Y'all need to hold her down and read it to her.
Let me go get it real quick and just do a dramatic reading.
Yeah.
Do it.
My favorite anyway.
So because I just got a warning that my computer is going to restart in 4 minutes and 55 seconds. I'll just quickly kind of summarize my overall thoughts, and everyone can kind of go through. I think I really enjoyed the series. I like the character. Like any main character, sometimes you're really frustrated with their decisions, but you kind of understand where they're coming from. Like, she was rejected from her own family, so she has a lot of these kind of built-in insecurities. The two main characters are a kind of love interests. One being, we later find out, spoiler, is a Fae, or he's a part Fae. We don't really know, I think. And the other one is Death, like an actual Grim Reaper of some sort that she's been able to communicate with since since her own mom's death, and she's seen him. So he ends up playing a big role in this by kind of saving her life, which is totally against the rules. So I thought it was really cool. I wouldn't say did I love it as much as I love the Fever series. No, I read all three. I think it's fantastic. I love them a lot. It's kind of like Fever series light. I don't think it went into as much depth, and the story wasn't as rich, but it was still really entertaining and enjoyable, and I want to continue on. I was really disappointed at the end of the third book and realizing the next one doesn't come out at least for 6 months, and then I was searching the web to find out how I can get an arc as soon as possible.
Are there 5 of them or 4 of them coming out?
So the next one is 4. I think it's Grave Visions. According to Goodreads, it looks like it's coming out at the end of March, so happy birthday to me. But the author, I guess it's Kalina, I don't know how to say her name. She hasn't been that active on social media. It looks like she pushed the publishing date back a while, so hopefully that March date's actually correct.
Yeah, I looked up the website. It's like a GeoCities website.
Well, most authors' websites are.
Yeah.
If you find an author who doesn't have a GeoCities website, I'll pay you $100.
Okay,
Hold on. All right, everyone search the web. I think she meant everyone watching, too.
Yeah. I think, speaking of that, Speaking of kind of what you were saying, Jamie, about how comparing it to the other urban fantasy we read for book club, Fever series, and a very famous urban fantasy, one of the big things that we don't like, most people don't like, especially in the beginning of that series, is Mac, the main character. She's so obnoxiously annoying, and you find that in these types of books. I definitely didn't love the main character of this, and I'm totally forgetting her name. I read this book weeks ago. Alex, thank you. Alex Croft. Yes, I loved. I didn't love her and agree with her decisions, especially later. Oh gosh, keep reading the books, you get annoyed with her. But she didn't annoy me the way that Mac did. She wasn't like superficial like that at all. Like I definitely didn't feel that. I didn't feel that personally. I don't know about the rest of you. What you felt about Alex?
Yeah, I didn't hate her at first. I mean, I didn't hate her at all. I was actually really kind of, I was more interested in what she had going on. I thought at first that she was a little bit more self-aware of her world. Like maybe she had a little bit, like, more insight into what was going on. It seemed like she was kind of holding something back. And then as the story kind of developed, you realize that she's kind of at the mercy of what's going on and not really kind of holding her own. But I appreciated some things. One of the girls on Goodreads said, Courtney, like, loved the fact that Alex, like, enjoyed sex and wasn't looking for a monogamous partner, but it never came off and never read as her being slutty. And so that was one thing that I really, like, appreciated about.
Yeah, I think she was kind of a good feminist, like, character to look up to.
Yeah.
Side note, I am eating pizza right now, and I'm not even going to apologize for it. I'm really hungry. It's 10:23 in the evening.
Side note, I meant to say I'm wearing a wolf shirt.
Hell yeah, you are.
In honor of Becca's
Wolf Cup
and Urban Fantasy. So.
I was thinking Jacob Black, but whatever.
Yeah, also there was some Twilight news that got released like an hour ago, so maybe that's why you put on your Twilight wolf shirt.
It is not a Twilight wolf shirt. It's just a wolf shirt.
I think it is. It's okay. It's okay.
Nice, look what I have. Can you see that?
What do you got? Oh, yeah!
Hold it up, Tiff.
Someone donated 300 of these bad boys to my library.
Kind!
Aw, some poor twihard.
All right, Beth, didn't you have an epic FMK for us?
I do, and I think we haven't really discussed the characters yet. So should we?
Yeah, let's do that first.
Yeah, let's discuss the characters.
Okay, so what do we think about Death? One of our girls in the book club said that she felt like he's more mysterious than the other dude in the story, and I have to agree. What do we think about Death?
I guess maybe, okay, so I'm going to tell you the truth. I have about 60 pages left of this book, and I didn't really see him very much like as a presence in the first book, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? Are you guys thinking? Oh, that's nice, Becca.
Well, maybe in the end of it, the part that you haven't read, he has like a more specific role.
Yeah.
He saves her life essentially in this book.
Which he saved her life in the beginning too.
He saved her life in the beginning, but then you kind of think, oh, something might happen with him, but he kind of like goes a long periods of time without showing up at all.
Right, but then he says in this book, because I haven't read any of the others, he says he's in love with her. And like they can touch and stuff, and he shouldn't be corporal to anybody else.
Okay.
But he's corporal to her.
Does he touch her in the end of this book? I don't remember.
He kisses her in the middle.
Yeah, they touch.
Oh, he kisses her in the middle? Okay. I couldn't remember when that happened. I mean, yeah. He kisses her.
I mean,
yeah. I'll tell you, just this should be obvious by the end of the first book, I think, and or especially when you start the second one. There is a love triangle being built up. I mean, and that's not really a big spoiler, as you need to have in any sort of trilogy or more books. And it's a tough one. When I finished book 3, I said to Jamie, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know where my heart is right now. I love Death. I didn't love Death in the first book. I didn't think anything of him. I don't know that I wasn't connected to him at that point.
no.
Did you like the other guy?
Yeah, I like the other guy. I thought the sex was pretty good.
No,
Where's
okay.
sex?
I've only read the first book, and if it's between Death and Fallon, or I don't want to call him Fallon because it makes me think of Jimmy Fallon, Phelan, I am for Death. I think he's sexier. I think my question is, like, is he bangable? Like, can she bang him? Because he's not, you know, doesn't have a body, really.
He's not a real person.
Right.
Keep reading, girl.
You guys saying death, I love death, is like the funniest thing ever.
That was actually my tagline.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's your tagline?
It was.
Read it.
You can see it.
I love death.
It said, no, it didn't say I love death. It said into death.
Into death. Super into death.
Well,
Just because he was more present in the first book, and I kind of like bossy guys. So, and he was super bossy.
tell us more.
I wasn't into him. I feel like he's a cliche. I feel like Phelan is a cliche.
What this whole book is.
Tell us how you really feel, Tiffany.
I think
I told Nikki last night that I thought it was like Ace Ventura for ghosts.
It was the best tagline ever.
So I think, Beth, I think you always approach books like, I think deep down you're a writer, you're a novelist, you've got these amazing stories that one day you will write and make your millions, and I'll be like, I knew her once. I slept in a bed with her. We took drunk photos at Comic-Con. I held her hair back one time.
You didn't have to do that.
I didn't have to do that. You're right. Your hair's too short. So I feel like you always approach books as like a writer. So like that comment you just said about, I don't remember what you said, but when you said that, I was like, I feel like that's somebody who writes books would say that.
That Phelan is a cliche?
Yeah, Phelan's a cliche. I mean, maybe I just like cliches. I'm reading a book. I can like a damn cliche if I want. Why? You guys remember when my neck thing, this happened in another book club? We've done Talking Outlander for 8 weeks, and I've never had a neck vein pop out like I do right now. I guess books stress me out. My hair's going this way. This is real annoying.
Oh, God.
Any doctor. Maybe he's yeah, exactly. What the hell's going on with me? Maybe it's because I'm eating pizza at 10:30. Maybe he's a total cliche, but I came away from that book being like, I like them. I want to see where this is going. He's being a jerk. Whatever happens. I was excited about it, and yeah, sure, it's a cliche. But I like it.
Well, Miss Kowski on Twitter loves death more than Jimmy Fallon, so I don't think you're alone.
Thanks, Mrs. Kowski.
Mrs. Kowski, have you read more books? I'm wanting to know.
Have you read more than just the first one? Tell us.
We're like waiting for her to answer.
We're just gonna sit. There's like a lag. Here's my thing about Phelan. I think that when they have sex, he's under the influence or whatever. He's totally like drunk on the Fae shit. And so I mean, it felt a little date rapey to me.
Really?
What? He wasn't drunk. Like, she date raped him?
Yeah. Is that what you're saying? The strong feminist character date raped Jimmy Fallon?
No, wait, I just read that. That's the part that I just ended.
They are both, like, just out of fairy, right? And so they both have, like...
He's sober. She just can't see.
That is jacked up. I'm sorry. And I mean, I realize that maybe, like, the actual sex in Fever, spoiler alert, is a lot more jacked up because...
Uh-huh.
It is, and a lot of... She just got done being gang raped, but,
Yep.
that didn't bother me as bad.
It's fine, Tiff. It's a really great story. It's really uplifting.
It's a great story.
If I could tell you what I think Fever's about, you guys would laugh.
Well, let's do it. Let's hear it.
Ace Ventura for those.
No, let's continue. I'll tell you guys when we're off the air.
Wow. I want to go back to Twitter
Go ahead,
because Miss Kowski responded to us and said yes. I don't remember what the question was, but she said yes.
She's read more. She's read more than just one book.
Oh,
so that's why she likes that.
Well, Pink Fluff Girl also chimed in and said, hell yes, he's one of my favorite fictional character men. Oh, he's one of
Barons.
my most favorite fictional men ever.
She's talking about Barons. No, I read it. She's talking about Barons.
Oh, just kidding.
Fever series.
Then the cold woman is saying Death is kind of hot and mysterious, but is that even conceivable? He's Death.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, in this story, Death is not the only Grim Reaper. There's all these other Reapers that have different personalities and different looks, and I guess they have different functions. I can't really tell what's going on with them. They have like this little tribe that does stuff. And the way that her particular Death is described is A, hot, B, protective, and C, not a dick bag. And Phelan is a dick bag on a regular basis. And that's just not cool. I mean,
I don't know why I like him. I must like assertive men who are dick bags.
I like them in fiction. I don't like them in real life.
Well, yeah, duh.
I don't know. I felt like Death was a little bit more, I thought he was sexier.
You should continue reading the series, Beth. Did you like it enough to continue?
Yeah, and I didn't. The only reason I didn't is A, I'm reading 75 books, but I wanted to at least just have that one in my head when we did book club.
That was smart. I should never read the book except for a couple days before book club because I forget.
Yeah. And I really shouldn't have read. I read it like 2 weeks ago. I've read like 4 books since then, and I shouldn't have because I forgot a lot that happened.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked about characters enough. I'm pretty sure it's time to do an FMK.
Yeah, it's definitely time. Okay.
It's time.
So F, which is your good, just the once good F with the somebody. Mary, which is, we've argued this forever, but marriage plus blandness maybe in the sack. And kill is obviously kill. So let's do Death, obviously, Phelan, and Roy, the ghost, who becomes Coleman.
What?
Roy.
Tiff didn't finish it, so she doesn't remember.
You know Roy.
I know who Roy is, but I didn't know how can he be an option.
He just is. He's an option. He's bangable. He can get it up.
She can touch ghosts if she uses her grave magic. So
we could also use her landlord, but you don't know enough about him yet. Her landlord's like someone to care about.
He's kind of hot, actually. He reminded me of the lumberjack character in Hex Hall, Cal.
Oh, the landlord.
Yeah.
Wow. Bringing it back. Okay. Okay, so
that's our FMK. Roy, Phelan, and Death.
Oh, damn.
Go, Becca.
I'll go first.
All right, go, Tiff. Tiff, go.
I would kill all of them because I didn't like the book.
I feel like we tortured you with this reading. You were like, I don't want to read it. I don't like this stuff. Stop trying to make me do it. And I'm like, no, but you like Brussels sprouts, I swear.
No, don't. I'd rather shoot myself in the face than have to read this book.
Aw, and you almost got through the whole thing. Can't believe you didn't like it.
It actually wasn't that bad once I got into it, but the first 150 pages were rough. Roof stoof, you guys.
Well, Tiff would kill them all.
Man.
I would kill Roy because that's stupid. Oh gosh. I would oh gosh, this is real hard. Real hard because I know what happens. I would Phelan, and I think I'd marry Death. I think I'm picking Death as we go forward.
Is Death your chosen love triangle?
I think I'm leaning more towards him, but I'm still not 100%. He isn't either.
Okay.
Where I am in the book.
Okay.
More drama that happens with both guys.
Okay.
But he is just
I
this
have
sweet.
mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I will kill Roy because that was a bad choice for this FMK. Yeah. And I would marry Phelan only because he has an actual job that has money, and I would Death because Death is the hottest.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have long hair.
That's true. James?
I think I'm immune to the long hair at this point. I think I've read enough where there's characters with long hair, and you know, for millions of years, men had long hair. So I think eventually, if the guy's hot enough, I just don't see it. I think I just read over the descriptions and it just doesn't compute. Like I just block it out. I'm like, oh, that character has long hair. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I didn't read that.
Who are these women who are saying these men with long hair are hot? Like I just can't. It's like whatever
the author?
moaning.
The same women who have GeoCities author website.
And the same woman who's a hoop dancer.
Hoop dancing, that's probably true.
Oh, guys, my old roommate was a hoop dancer.
Is she this Kate, whatever this woman's name, Price?
No, she's not. But she's done even fire hooping and everything. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to play the game. Okay, so killing Roy because he's a little annoying. I think that I would just F Fallon because, and not while he's drunk under the influence. It'll be a totally consensual, so when I tell Beth, she's like, okay with the situation.
Thank you.
I'll be like California, and I will make sure that we both say yes to the sex.
Good idea.
And then I would marry Death. I would also say that because I know things that happen in the book, I would only trust sex with Fallon once.
Oh. Jillian Wilcox also, she agreed with my FMK. She would F Death, marry Fallon, kill Tommy. So thank you, Jillian. And I don't like this I know stuff that happens. We need to quit doing that.
I know. It's so hard. I need to not read. But it's just so hard. When you like a book, you want to continue on, you know?
Kind of it's talking out loud.
For some of us, it's an easy read, and it was just like, you know, you just download the next book.
Yeah, exactly.
So Courtney Jevlin on Twitter said that she's read all 3, and she thinks it's creepy that Death watched her grow up and wants to bang her.
Yeah, that's true.
I forgot that he watched her grow up.
She's known him since she was a kid, and he's looked exactly the same. I mean, that is a little creepy.
Imprinting.
Everything goes back to Twilight. Everything.
Show us that wolf shirt again.
Jacob.
Printing in your shirt. Oh, there's Jacob. Oh, it's so perfect.
Oh, yeah.
My dog is sitting here, too. I keep trying to get her to sit up so you can see her. She won't get up.
All right, well, we could talk about this book all night, but we need to just give it because we have another book to talk about, or / picture book. We need to give it a, would you recommend, we need a wine glass rating. It's going to be out of 4 since Nikki didn't read it. Would you recommend this book? I'm going with an yes, thumbs up. Tip?
Thumbs down.
James?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Checker, thumbs up. Woohoo.
Beth?
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I think we've read some urban fantasy that's been a lot worse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is a 3 out of 4 for That's Normal, which is great. Great. All right.
Good job, Great
Next. All right. Good job, Great Bricks. I definitely recommend the rest of them if you're an urban fantasy fan. I think Tiff didn't like it because she's not, and she's crazy. So we're firing her from Boozy Book Club because she didn't agree with us.
Right.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Okay, next book, which is not a book or a graphic novel or a picture book, and I don't understand, so I will now be quiet. Nikki!
I'll kick it off. We read the first 6 books in the Ms. Marvel comic book series. So they're called comic books. It's not a graphic novel because it's not a long story, and it's not a trade paperback because it's not the first 6 or whatever increments of comic books. I've learned a lot, you guys, so there's that. I'll give you a little background. So I figured out like halfway through, maybe the 3rd, that Ms. Marvel is not this girl. She's actually a different character that apparently has 2 aliases, Ms. Marvel and Captain Marvel. But this girl ends up essentially, I don't know, we don't know exactly how she turns into Ms. Marvel, but she's able to polymorph into anything, essentially. So she can be big, she can be small, she can be different people. So, what do we think? Who else read it?
I did.
Yay!
I actually only read through the 4th one, though.
It got good at 5 and 6.
Oh, crap. I'll read them. So I have all the way through 7. I thought it was good. I felt like as soon as I picked it up, there were 2 things that I felt like I was not prepared for. One, my graphic novel / comic book experience has been mostly with trades. And so the ads in the regular 1 issues were really like bugging me. It was like taking me out of the story completely. Like just when anytime I opened up a double page spread and one side of it was this big ad and one side of it was the story. And I know that's stupid, but
like a magazine ad, like a ad for deodorant.
Yeah, like another. Like this is the story over here, and this is an ad, and it's like that almost every other page.
Well, the great thing if you download them, there's no ads.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just get the.
Okay. Well, maybe I should do that next time because it was really taking me out of it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was the same. Most of my experience has been with the trade paperbacks, either in print or downloading them. So I was not prepared for the ads either, and it was distracting for me.
Maybe it's just because it breaks up the art. I guess. I mean,
it breaks up the flow of how it should look.
Yeah, because the ones that are double page spread for the comic were better for me to like grasp, and I was cool with those. There were just so many of them. Like I was really shocked and surprised. It's like reading through Vogue, and it's just it's ad after ad after ad. So it's really annoying. So I think that for me, if I'm gonna read comics, I want them bound in trades, basically. Or I guess I can download it. If there's no ads, I'll download.
Download it.
Yeah.
What did you think? I kind of equated this to being like the YA of comic books because she is a teenager. Like the story is about her being a teen, and usually heroes are usually they're adults. So she was kind of like the youngster learning the ways. What did you guys
I didn't know what to expect from the series. When I heard it was kind of this reboot, I thought she was going to be Miss Marvel, and I didn't realize that Miss Marvel exists, like the Avengers exist in this world, and she idolizes Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, so that was an interesting take, and I actually didn't read too much about the series before I started. I just knew that it was a really popular series, so I was pleasantly surprised to see that she's of a non-white ethnicity, that she's actually Muslim, and that it's an interesting cultural take on a situation. And being a teenager, there's already a lot of angst and problems, but then you add in this whole cultural divide, and living somewhere where especially it's interesting because it takes place in Jersey City, and actually North Jersey in general just has a lot of Indian and Pakistani populations. So it was that was actually very true to the area where she's from, Jersey City, and that whole thing was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I thought.
I liked that they chose for her to be Muslim, and that also figures into her whole figures into her life, but then her life as a superhero too, like her costume and how she's seen and that sort of thing. I thought that was really cool. Her costume was awesome too. The one she ends up coming up with.
She makes it out of a Muslim fanny pack or something?
She called it her burkini, so it was like a burqa bathing suit, I guess.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I like that at the end of each end of each comic, they had this thing called Hala Kamala, which where people would write in questions or write in their comments. And there were so many people who were thank you so much for featuring someone who wasn't, the usual superhero material, and I thought that was really cool. Showing that stereotypes about Muslims aren't true and that sort of thing. So
right. No, I really, really, really appreciated the fact that she's a woman of color, and she's a young girl, and she's smart, and she's kind of going through something, and and they weren't just kind of, at least from what I can tell, they're not just like making caricatures of that, you know, of the Muslim family or whatever, and they're just showing them in a real way, and I appreciated that a lot. I felt like I was a little lost because I didn't do any research on what it was about, where it was coming from, and I realized that I needed to know more about the Marvel Universe than like my ex-boyfriend's toy collection and movies. Like, that is not enough for me to kind of get through what she's going. Like, they all know that Captain America exists and Tony Stark exists, and that's, I mean, like, the world is populated by these, you know, supernatural people. Not supernatural, what are they? Metahumans?
Mutants, some of them.
I guess they're I think they're metahumans. Anyway.
I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, it's populated by that, and it's a part of her world, and I wasn't prepared for that. I was prepared, you know, for her to be the new kid on the block or whatever. So I felt like I needed to do more research to get into it.
So I would recommend, and this probably isn't the correct way, and I'm sure comic purists would be like, oh, that's the worst. But I learned a lot about the Marvel Universe from watching the Avengers cartoon on Netflix. So anyone interested in learning more, it's actually really entertaining. There's 2 seasons, and then I think they actually rebooted it, and they're doing another one. But the 2 seasons actually introduces all of the main Avengers, like their backstory, and then it comes together, and then eventually you get introduced to Captain Marvel and some of her powers and just all these storylines. So it kind of gives you this like kind of a good basis that if you want to go and read the other comic books, granted it's not exactly the same storyline because it's for a cartoon, but it's close enough that you can really follow along, and I find that kind of keeps me really interested in wanting to know more. I've watched like Comic Book Girl 19 has one of her episodes is like comics for noobs, and you know, they talk about if you want to learn the backstory, you can always go to Wikipedia, but sometimes just reading it, but then it's not the best way to kind of absorb what happens. Like, I'm more visual, so seeing it in like the cartoon form. And I love cartoons. I grew up watching Spider-Man, watching Batman, watching like all that kind of stuff. So like I really enjoy that we're going to be reading comics and kind of, you know, of all different types. So that's really exciting for me.
Can we talk about the best part, which is where Wolverine shows up in the last one as kind of her like mentor? She essentially, her parents send her off to see her sheikh, I don't know, like local pastor essentially, and he tells her that old saying of like, when the pupil is ready, the master appears, and so she gets herself into a scrape, and then guess who shows up? Wolverine, and it's like the best part of the whole story. Like, he should.
Logan.
What?
I said, oh, Logan.
Yes, exactly. So she's like, I don't know, it was like the funniest part. He's just kind of like, oh, this kid, who are you? And then this part was hilarious. Like, you can tell it's aimed at like such a younger age. Whoa. Hold on, I was going to show you something cute, and it went away. Has, like, internet speak. Like, they're in the middle of a fight, and, like, I don't even know if you can see it, but it says, like, wow, such athletic, very claws, so amazed. And I was like, oh, my God, it's so, like, internet speak. I thought it was cute.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting that Wolverine wanted to take her on because Wolverine has, when there's been crossover between Wolverine and Spider-Man, they do not get along. Like, Wolverine just thinks, like, Spider-Man's so annoying, and he's also, and that's another one that started off with him being a teenager, and then they usually move the comics into him being in college and whatnot. But it's, yeah, they do a lot of crossover because Wolverine tends to be, like, everybody's favorite. And now we can just picture, like, Hugh Jackman, like, giving her some advice.
I kind of hate that. Like, Hugh Jackman's so old now, and I don't think that he's not my Wolverine. Hashtag not my Wolverine.
She's like, opinions, I've got them.
He's not my Wolverine.
I just like that he's like the old crotchety man. Like, they left it right at the best. Like, I was like, oh, I gotta download the next one because like the cover has a selfie of her and Wolverine on it. Like,
yeah, yeah, that's adorable.
I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. So I think they left us in a good spot.
Well, I have the 7th one, so I'm going to read 6 and 7 tonight.
Yeah, I unfortunately had issues with finding the 3rd and 6th issue. Apparently, the comic number 1, I have the not the 2nd edition, the alternate, I guess, cover. The variant. That's what variant. And he's like, you're going to read this? And I'm like, yeah. And like he's like handing me it over in like the plastic, and I'm like, I don't know. I promise my hands won't be oily. Like, he's like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so I
sorry.
think the trade paperback is going to be out soon, within like the next month or so. So for those who haven't read but you're looking forward to it, you can pick it up in that form. And I believe even Barnes & Noble carries some of the trade paperbacks, so you can look there or go to your comic book store. Don't be intimidated. They're very helpful. Often they have cats that live in them. It's really awesome.
The guy at my comic book store has really stubby fingers, and it grosses me out.
If they have stubby fingers, just download it. It's pretty simple. I probably read all of these in a few hours. It maybe takes 20 minutes to read one. They're 20 pages long. 22, I think.
What did you say about cats?
There's the comic book store across from Village Whiskey in Philly.
Huh?
They have 3 cats.
They do? I've only been in there once. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was a Levi, a Claire, and I don't remember the other one.
You would know their names.
Claire and Jamie.
Jamie, obviously. Obvi.
I'll be like, oh my God, that's my name. They're like, that's nice.
Well, do you guys have anything more to say about your picture book? Or can we give it a rating for the evening?
Let's rate it.
Okay.
Are we doing
Let's hit it.
Out of what? Out of 3, since there's only 3 of us?
No, just give it a, do you recommend it? And then we'll do it on the internet. Do you recommend it?
I think someone who doesn't know that much, even though what Beth said, I think you could jump in on this. It's really cute and sweet. Go for it.
James.
I think it's a good starter comic for those who are just learning the universe.
I give it a thumbs up. I gave it to my daughters, and they loved it.
Cool.
They're 8 and 10, and they're totally the coolest 8 and 10-year-olds ever, and they were into it. So, thumbs up.
Cool.
Awesome.
Good. Well, let's talk about what we're doing next month. Beth, do you remember? Because I don't.
I do remember. Head bitch in charge.
Yeah.
So next month, one of my favorite authors, one of Tiff's favorite authors, her name is Jandy Nelson. She's like a YA queen. She wrote this beautiful book called The Sky is Everywhere, and I love her to death. She has a new book coming out called I'll Give You the Sun, and I think it's debuting at number 8 on the bestseller list because
Wow.
so many pre-orders. It is going to be bananas. It's going to be so important in terms of like how YA is looked at this year, and it's just going to be really good. And Tiff, have you already read it?
I read half of it. I got it at ALA. Actually, ALA. But I met her, and she was saying how it took her like 3 or 4 years to write this book. So she was very sweet woman. Her line was like all through the convention center. It was crazy.
I bet.
When is it out? It's coming out?
Yeah, it just came out like last week, I think.
Cool.
Or maybe
Okay, great. I thought it came out next week, so that's awesome. So it
What's
did
it called
debut.
again?
I'll Give You the Sun. All right.
Like the quick synopsis for us who aren't in the loop.
So it's basically about these twins, a brother and a sister, and it's kind of hard to like not give away stuff because it shocked me when I read it. So it's about them it goes back and forth from his point of view is told when he's like 14 and something traumatic happens before then her point of view is told, it goes back and forth when I think they're like 17. So, and it shows the difference in how just like different people see different events in their lives, and it goes back and forth. So it's really good.
Awesome.
Okay, and our optional / graphic novel for this time is Rat Queens, which I've heard nothing but amazing stuff about. It's like a what's a 4-person thing called?
Quad.
A quartet. A quartet. It's a quartet of 4 rat ladies, and it's supposed to be just amazing. So Rat Queens is our optional book. So yeah.
I think we also should throw out there, I mean, I don't think it's an official book for the month, but we're obviously going to be talking about it because we're big fans of them. Mid-month, Sublime by Christina and Lauren comes out. Christina Lauren. And many of us have read it already, so I think that's why we're not picking it for book club. But we're definitely going to be talking about that, reviewing it, and maybe having a chat with the girls about it. It's their first venture into YA officially, and it's a ghost story. And just because it's YA doesn't mean that it does not have sexy times. Because it does.
And I would say this because October is always the month that I try to read horror books or ghost stories or things like Southern Gothic or Gothic books. It just makes me really, really happy to read stuff like that during the month of October. So I definitely suggest you read Sublime this month and anything else that you can get your hands on that's horror related. But also Maggie Stufffighter has got Blue Lily, Lily Blue coming out this month. And that's a kind of a ghost story, it's just perfect for fall. So read that too. That's it. That's all I had to say.
I was also going to suggest that maybe we read the Twilight Guide cover to cover, since that is involved in the Twilight news that came out today.
I once brought that on. I once bought it in a bookstore and hopped on a plane and read it, and I took off the cover because I was uber embarrassed.
No, here's when the first time I read Twilight, I read it under the cover so that my husband wouldn't see the cover.
Really?
What year was that?
That was right after the movie came out on DVD, so it was early 2009. We rented the movie. I had hated it the whole time it had been published. Hated it. Never picked it up. And Ryan rented the movie right after it came out on DVD. I watched it begrudgingly, fell in love, went to Walmart, bought Twilight and New Moon, hid them under a box of Capri Sun in my cart in case I saw anybody I knew in the aisles. I wouldn't even go to my regular bookstore and buy it. I bought it at Walmart. I don't even go to Walmart.
But look what it's given you.
And then I read it under the cover so Ryan wouldn't see what I was reading.
And now,
and look where we are.
How many years later, you're talking on the internet at 11 p.m. Eastern to friends you met because of Twilight.
I wouldn't have even found Outlander if it wasn't for Twilight, because I read about that in some Twilight fan fiction. You guys.
Everything goes back to Twilight. Everything.
And for the record, I was only embarrassed of reading the guide on the plane. I had no qualms about any of the other Twilight books.
As you should have been.
Like the dictionary of Twilight. You're like, I need to know more. I must know more.
I was like, I've been waiting for it since December 2008 when it was first promised.
Right? Remember,
it's in the back of my Breaking Dawn. Yeah.
I'll just grab it off my shelf real quick.
Oh, adorable. I don't have that.
I actually don't have it either.
Nor do I.
I do have the Outlandish Companion and a couple of Tolkien companions and Doris Lessing's letters to George Bernard. I don't know. I have all kinds of stuff, but I don't have the Twilight Companion.
Do you want me to tell you more about Felix or Heidi? I can tell you a lot of stuff.
I don't even know who that is. Skittles now, did y'all know that Skittles have a green apple flavor? It's not lime anymore, it's green apple.
Oh man, I did not know that.
Yes, I did know that because I am from Washington State, and we are Sox fans, and we're all about those Skittles.
Really?
All about them Skittles. No trouble. All right, we're getting just crazy right here. I think this wraps it up. We recommend both books. Got new books coming out in October. Tomorrow's going to be awesome. It's going to be a killer month. We're going to celebrate Halloween. What y'all think about it? I don't want to hear right now because I want to turn off the computer. I'm going to
cosplay as Drunk Becca.
Drunk Becca. Drunk Becca is a good time.
Becky.
I'll tell you. Becky. All right, guys, thank you for joining us for our Boozy Book Club number 11. Make sure you join us on Goodreads and on that'snormal.com, that's-normal.com, and all the other social media accounts where we are. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.